What up? It's Leeds. How we doing? Back again. Coming out of quarantine of getting COVID. Good stuff. Kane Major, what up? Interview today with Snak The Ripper. Pitting this motherfucker. Ah, yes. Here we go. Yeah. Oh, looks like Snack's already here. He's early. We'll get right into it, I guess. Let's see here. I think he's coming. We'll see.
How you doing, bro?
Yo, what up?
Good, man. How you doing?
Chilling, man. You're early. A rapper that's early, man. So we're gonna get.
I'm always 5-10 minutes early, bro. I'm always ready.
Rappers take notes, please.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I'd like to welcome
sir.
everybody. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Leeds Entertainment Podcast. A very special guest this week, Snak The Ripper.
What's going
Nice
on?
to meet you in person. Oh, face
Yeah,
to
man.
face, I should say.
Nice to meet you, bro.
I
Sorry about
don't
last
know.
week. Sorry about last week. I was fucked up, dude. I played some shows and yeah, I don't know. I got some bug, bro, but I was sick as fuck for like a week, and yeah, you could like hear it in my face. I was all plugged up and shit. It was gross. So I had to reschedule with you.
All good, man. Did you have COVID?
No, I wasn't COVID. I did the swab. I could have done it wrong or something, but I mean, I'm pretty sure I had all the COVIDs, man. You know, like 100% at some point I've had every variant or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
but yeah, I just came in contact with a lot of people. I did a lot of like VIPs and shit, and like and I haven't seen people in 2 years, so maybe my immune system isn't as strong as it was. But man, I got sick. I just played 3 shows and it got me sick as fuck. But you know, it is what it is. I'm back in action now.
Yeah, I just got COVID myself.
Oh, damn.
So I'm finally getting out of it, turning the corner, man. But so I feel you with the sick. It was like a bad cold. It wasn't anything
Yeah,
too crazy.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Nothing I can't handle, you know?
Right. I mean, both of us have been in underground hip hop scene for a while. We're pretty much immune to probably a lot of things by now.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Playing in grimy clubs and working in them for as
Oh
long as we
yeah,
have.
dude. Yeah. I think about all the bullshit I put in my body over the years. It's nothing I can't handle, man.
We've actually met. We haven't met, but I promoted a show when you were in the Boston show with Onyx. When you were on tour with Onyx,
Okay.
I did that show. I booked that show. I didn't meet
Oh,
you in
nice.
person because it was a crazy night running around, but that was the first time we've come in
That was
contact.
that was a cool night, man. That was the only good show I had on the whole East Coast.
Really?
Yeah, that was it. And it was because Onyx was there, really. But I don't think I got as big of following on the East Coast as I do on the West. Because, like, when I went, like, that was our only show on the East Coast. And then after that, it was like, we played, like, Chicago and I can't even remember, man. A bunch of spots, like, in the Midwest, like, upper northern. I don't even know. I just remember all the shows sucked on the East Coast, except for Boston. Yeah, Boston was lit, man.
That was a good night.
Yeah, dude. So, and then once we got over to the West Coast, things picked up a little bit. But yeah, the Midwest and the East Coast wasn't good for me, man. But you know, maybe that'll change one day. Who knows?
I think it's changing.
Yeah.
I always like to go back a little bit, from in the beginning and talk about like where you're from and stuff like that. You're from Westminster, British Columbia, is that correct?
No, that's where I was born. It's called New Westminster. It's like one of the older. It's like it's one of the kind of like settler towns in outside of Vancouver. So it was like before Vancouver. Like I guess it was probably around the same time Vancouver was established. But it's a small city, but it's got one of the main hospitals. So like a lot of people from around here were born in New Westminster. But yeah, I grew up in a town called Maple Ridge, which is about like 45 minutes east of Vancouver.
What's that like out there?
I love it. It's the best place in the world, in my opinion. I got a fucking, it's a rainforest, so it's like very, lots of big ass fucking trees. I got a river like just down the street from my house that's got salmon in it that I go fishing for, and there's mountains and it rains lots, kind of like Seattle. So it's a equivalent of Seattle, I guess. It looks the same, feels the same. But yeah, I love it here, man. It's just right on the edge of a mountain. So like right behind my house here, it's just pure forest. It's the Rockies. It goes forever.
Yeah, because how far are you from the States, United States?
Probably about 40 minutes.
Yeah,
I'm
so you're
closer to the
close.
States here than Vancouver is. Vancouver is closer to the ocean, and I kind of live like the border to cross to the States is like a bit more south.
Word.
And a bit
Because,
more, yeah.
On the East Coast here, we only really think of Canada. We think of Montreal,
Oh, of course.
because we just went up there to drink all the time, underage. So we're like, we just go to Montreal. We don't really think of the West Coast as much.
I love Montreal. Yeah, Montreal's dope. But yeah, I mean, it's the same shit basically. But I would say like a lot of the cities on the East Coast of Canada, Montreal, Toronto, stuff like that, they're just big urban fucking concrete jungles. Whereas like where I live, we got a city, but it's not very big. But most of it here is just spread out, and it's beautiful, man. I love it here.
Is it mostly people speaking English, or is the French like in
Oh
Montreal? Is a
no,
big French thing.
nah, that's just Quebec. Quebec
Yeah.
and Montreal, that's where the French people are. I mean, there's
Okay.
French shit spread out across Canada, but like you don't see like there's no one speaking French in my town. No one.
Right.
But in Canada, we have to have French on everything. So like if you have one side of your cereal box is English, and then you turn it around, and then it's French because of the one province that speaks French. But you know what? That's their fucking shit. So it is what it is, man. It's part of sharing fucking a country with other people.
Do you speak French?
No, fuck no. I don't word of French. I could say like like bonjour, comment ça va, shit like that. Like just simplistic French shit. But no, I don't speak any French. I didn't take French in school. I got kicked out.
Yeah, so speaking of getting kicked out, I was reading here 150 charges of mischief on your
Oh yeah.
Wikipedia. Yeah, I've never heard of charges of mischief before.
Yeah, it's for graffiti. So back in the day, they every tag that they had a photo of that they were trying to pin on me, they counted it as one charge, which was weird, but because they never done this before. So like back in the early 2000s, late 90s, I was heavily into graffiti, and in the city where I live, and mainly Canada for that matter, there was no like graffiti laws, like there was no like blueprint on how to handle graffiti crime and shit like that. So they just were kind of winging it, and they actually used my case as like kind of like they try to use me as an example, like make me an example. But it didn't work. Basically, what happened is they never caught me in the act. They just knew that my name. They knew that it was me because they had witnesses, and they had caught me with spray paint and like little spray nozzles and shit. But I didn't have anything. I didn't have my tag written on me or nothing like that. But yeah, it was they just didn't know how to charge me, so they wanted to like make an example of me by giving me 150 charges of mischief, which is crazy because like usually you break the window, that's a charge of mischief, but it's like I broke 150 windows or something. It's like stupid. Anyway, the best part is I never actually got charged for any of it. I got a conditional discharge because they couldn't prove it, and that was it. I ended up getting community service and for like 2 years or whatever, but I went to the recycling depot where people bring paint to dump it off. So I was basically, I had to be there because of the courts. Like the courts wanted me at the recycling depot doing my community service, and I was just getting free paint at the recycling depot. It was great. People bring in their paint and recycle it there. So I had an endless supply. It was great.
So after the charges and everything, did you shift to rapping after that because you were like, yo, I can't get in trouble for this shit
Nah,
anymore?
I didn't care about that. I went way harder on graffiti after that until like probably for the next 10 years. But no, it was around 2007 that I started getting into rapping and shit like that. And it was mainly because I had like I had a lot of homies that were into writing graffiti, but then I met a lot of guys through writing graffiti that were like into this underground rap scene. And like, there was always like, I like to drink. So there was always like these nights where, you know, open mic nights, dudes are rapping, and a lot of them were my friends and shit. And I always rapped and stuff, but just at parties, right? And I always was the guy when it came around in the circle. I was always like the more obnoxious, wild one, trying to get a ruse out of people, and it worked for the most part. And then I started doing it in like the bar environments with a microphone, and from there it was fucking it's history. I just kept going.
Why the name Snak?
Well, that was just some graffiti shit. Because when I got caught, well, when they arrested me back in the day, my name was, I shouldn't even be saying this, but I mean, it's too late now. They can't charge me. But it's just Scott backwards was T-O, but I spelled it T-O-K-S. So it was Tokes. People call me Tokes, but it was just Scott backwards. And the cops knew that. That's why they said, you know, this is your name. You're writing Scott all over the place. So after that, I was like, okay, fuck, I need to change my name. They know who I am. So, and I just liked honestly, Snak has nothing to do with nothing. It has no meaning at all whatsoever. I wrote Snak because I liked the structure of the letters. I liked how the S and the A are symmetrical and the N and the K are symmetrical. So like when you're actually looking at it in like a design way, you can see like if you, hold on, I'll show you something.
All good.
Done, but I just did a bunch of these little miniature trains for like part of my bundle. But like, if you look, you can see the way that this S here is similar in like structure and style as the A. Then the N and the K are also similar in their own way, right? So in that kind of like, that's what I liked about the word Snak. I just liked the symmetry of the letters, and then I became, people started knowing me as Snak, and it just became my nickname. And people, you know, after a while, it was too hard to go back, you know. And I didn't take rapping serious, so when I started, I just was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna use my graffiti name, you know, and that's what I did. And now here it is, like I'm 15 years later, and I'm still Snak the Ripper, and it's like kind of a shitty name, to be honest. Like I know it's hindered my you know, my chances of like winning awards and shit, like in Canada, like highly. Like no one's trying to nominate a guy whose name was like similar to like a dude who murders fucking hookers, you know, like Jack the Ripper was a murderer of hookers, right? And I was just Snak, and I just added the Ripper to it. But I mean, it's fitting too, because I am kind of a ripper when it comes to shit. Like the things that I do, I like to rip it up, you know. It's like I go hard.
Yeah, you do. Speaking of hardcore, Canada seems to have a real appreciation for hardcore hip hop. More like United States does too, but United States very. When I see Canadians represent underground hip hop, hardcore hip hop, it's dope to see. I feel like there's a real strong scene there from what I've seen.
For sure. I mean, it's Canada is just a smaller version of the U.S. So like whatever you see popping in the U.S., it's the same here. There's a large, you know, a lot of people here support commercial hip hop or rap or whatever it is, and all that R&B and Tory Lanez shit, like all that kind of stuff. People love that shit here. You know what I mean? But there is demographics of people who like the underground boom bap shit, and then there's, you know, people who, you know, who kind of don't really. You know, in the worst thing is when people kind of like try to divide everything, in my opinion. You know what I mean? It's like fucking music is music, man. Like whether you're listening to the boom bap shit or you're listening to some trap shit or whatever it is, like if it's good and it sounds good and it doesn't hurt your fucking ears, then it's good. You know what I mean? As simple as that. So like I feel like a lot of people in Canada just like music in general. I think, you know, they don't judge it on like what subgenre it falls into. And people out here, I don't think are very like diehard into one thing only. They're open. We have open-minded people in Canada, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Well, I can tell you my first time hearing about you probably was about 6-7 years ago when you did the Madchild diss.
Oh,
Because Can we talk about that? Because I didn't understand your side of things with that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Let's make it fucking brief. I don't want to make it the whole interview, but
No, we're not going to do that.
Talk about it.
I'm just curious what happened because I never really got the story of what happened.
Well,
and Madchild has played. I've done shows with Madchild. I'm not taking any sides, but he's been out here. We have mutual people we know, so I was just curious your side of things. And you have mutual people I know out here as well. Like
yeah, long story short is, I liked Madchild when I was a kid. When I was like a young dude, I liked him, but he was on some different shit, on some like Dungeons and Dragons. Even his voice and everything. Listen to Swollen Members prior to 2007 when I started rapping. Listen to Swollen Members prior to Snak the Ripper. Then listen to Madchild and Swollen Members after Snak the Ripper.
Gotcha.
Listen to Madchild's voice, his delivery, his style, and this and that, and I'm blah, 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 blah. I'm not saying I started that because I was influenced by Onyx and doing a lot of aggressive shit. I've been doing the aggressive shit before anybody in Canada. Nobody did the aggressive shit like this. And then here comes a guy who's already established, you know, looking for a new way to rekindle his heroin addict career. And I was popping at the time. This is when I had just dropped White Dynamite, which was about 10 years ago, exactly 10 years ago. Anyway, long story short is he kind of used me as inspiration for many years, and I think he still does. You know what I mean? Which is cool, whatever. I mean, go ahead. But at one point, somebody asked me what I thought about Madchild, and I was honest. I said, no comment or some shit like that. You know what I mean? And then he caught wind of that and said, Snak the Ripper is a shit talking blah, blah, blah. And he said my name on Twitter. That was it. That's all I need, bro. I come from a graffiti background, so I don't give a fuck who the fuck you are. I don't care if you're Kanye West. If you say my name on your Twitter in a foul way, I'm coming for your fucking throat. And I'll do that for anybody. Still to this day, I mean, I haven't changed. I'm still the same person. So I'm passionate about what I do. And if you talk shit about me.
I think we lost your volume there. You there? You there? Hold on.
You hear me? No?
Now I can. Yeah, I can now.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes when I get a call in the middle of the shit, it gets rid of my audio. And it doesn't come back. But yeah, long story short is he just talked some shit and I felt like it was either if I don't stand up for myself right now and say some shit, then what does that say about me? And where does that leave my career forever? Some fucking loser drug addict, you know what I mean? Like, is talking shit. What am I supposed to do? Sit here and take it? No, fuck no. So I went hard, bro. I went extra hard. I wrote a diss against him and responded the next day. Then it took him a week to respond to that one. But while he was writing his week-long response, I had already written my second response. So when he dropped his response to the first one, bam, I hit him with my second one immediately. You know what I mean? I didn't waste time. And I shot videos and edited them myself. You know what I mean? So I dropped 3 videos and songs against him in like a 2-week span when it took him 2 weeks to do one verse. You know what I mean?
Well, I guess I got my info.
And that's what it is. And, you know, I see a lot of people taking the battle or the beef for face value. Like, oh, this guy won or that guy won. But they don't know the history and what actually happened. What happened was you have small man syndrome. You know, the little guy who talks shit, but he's not tough. And he's got all these big tough guys behind him. Well, that's what Madchild is in Vancouver. That's why rappers never could talk shit about Madchild or say anything. Because if they did, they got a gun put in their mouth until I came around. And then I stopped giving a fuck. You know what I mean? And when I fucking knocked that guy out, he never came back. He spiraled into a weird fucking, look at him now, dude. Dude is a weirdo. What could be said? You know what I mean? Yeah. No offense. Like I hold no animosity towards him at all at this point because that shit is just poison for your soul. I don't feel bad, you know what I mean? Or I don't feel any like hate towards anyone. But at the same time, I'm a firm believer of karma and if you're a piece of shit in your life, you're gonna get shit. You know what I mean? And that's just it. That's what he got. That's why he's a lonely old man who's fucking dressing like a 21-year-old boy. You know what I'm saying? Hello, fellow children.
So the voice, your unique voice, was it something you developed, or is it something more natural that came when you started rapping?
I think it's like my rap voice is probably quite a bit different than my speaking voice. But when I excited or I start yelling, that's the rap voice kind of comes out of me, and I think that's always kind of been there. It sounds like my dad. You know what I mean? My dad also was like, ah, 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 ah. He kind of had like this weird like Joker kind of chuckle, you know, and I think that shit just stuck with me as well. But you take that, and then also like I have like influence. Like when I started rapping, I was listening. That was when Dave Chappelle came out, right? So I was like the dude at the party who could do like the best, like I'm Rick James, bitch. I could do that shit like better than everyone back in the day. And so it's just a lot of things all accumulating. Plus, I always loved East Coast rap, like I loved the West Coast shit too, but I really liked the delivery. Like it wasn't something I subconsciously did. It's just that I really like a lot like I listened to West Coast and East Coast rap growing up like any 90s kid, but the East Coast shit is what molded me as a rapper. You know what I mean? Like that cadence, the just like hitting the snare and finding the pockets on the beat. That to me was like was the best shit, you know? I was
Who
like
were some?
too,
I'm
but
sorry. Who were some of your East Coast influences?
I listen to everything, bro. Probably Nas was my biggest like East Coast, like that. Like basically all the Illmatic, all the Nas's albums were huge for me. Like when I was really young, because I just liked the cadence and shit. I learned how to rap by doing like Nas's hype man shit. I would listen to like It Ain't Hard to Tell, and I'd be like, Excel, Prevail, Clientele. You know what I mean? I would do the N words to the shit, and that's kind of how I learned how to rap in a sense. You know what I mean? Just listening to a lot of that kind of shit. But I also love Tupac and shit like that. So I didn't really like you know, being from Canada, I didn't really like pick sides. I just went for both. You know what I mean?
Was there any Canadian rap influences for you, or was it all United States?
No, there was definitely like there was guys in Canada who like when I was a kid were really dope, like the Rascals from Vancouver there. Yeah. And Swollen members. Like when I was a kid, when I was like 19, that was when Swollen was kind of popping, right? So but they sounded different. They were into some whole different, they were like into the skate culture and shit, and that's kind of what I was into too, was skating. Like we were all kids, so I really I liked them. As I would say, I was even influenced by them at a certain point, you know, but not musically, you know, just more like, okay, there's guys from my city who are doing shit. It kind of opened the gateway for us, you know. So I'll give Madchild respect for that shit. That's the one downfall for him is like, you know, they did have a great legacy at one point, but he kind of squabbled it away with fucking being a scumbag. But yeah, man. What else? Canada, fucking, you know, obviously there's always been a lot of good rappers from the East Coast too. Maestro and Cardinal Official and all these guys. Like, yeah, man.
I didn't Shaw Claire.
Any of that shit though. Like really.
Shaw Claire and Classified, Swollen members, probably some of the first.
Classified.
Canadian MCs I had heard. You know,
for sure.
Rascals, I knew Rascals too.
Yeah, man. And anytime I ever went like to Europe back in the day, I would like talk. People would come up to me and they're like, "Oh, you're from Canada, like Classified, Swollen member," and I'm like, "Yeah." You know. So they were like pretty well known in different European places that I went to in the early days.
Right. So getting back to the rap, you know, when do you think that your career really kind of took off? Because you've been doing it for a while. What was the album you think that kind of took you into another level?
Definitely like, you know, I was struggling in the beginning for a few albums, but I would say like the standout album for me was White Dynamite, and I dropped that 10 years ago, actually, pretty much next month. And that one has some of my biggest, I guess you would call them my biggest songs on it. Forgot Yup. I got a song called White Dynamite. You Don't Know Me. There's a bunch of them, but I think a lot of those people that still listen to me to this day, they still listen to that album.
Yeah, let's just also make a note that Madchild is on that album.
Yeah, he's on that album. Yeah, exactly. That's crazy, right? But the thing is, like, we were kicking it a little bit in the beginning of his. He came to me trying to rekindle his career, bro, because I was kind of popping at the time in my city, and it was a good look for him to be on my album at that time. Do you get what I'm saying?
Right.
He was washed up heavily at that point, and needed, like, I even went on tour with him in a pickup truck, like on some dirty shit, like just. Anyway, yeah, man, it was crazy times, man. But yeah, and I even was on his album at the same time too, or on a Swollen Members album. It's called Fear, some shit like that. With the old Swollen Members album, I can't remember what the album's called, but yeah, it was we kicked it there for a little bit. I tried to like him. You know what I mean? I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. I do that for everyone, bro. If I meet somebody and I respect them, like I respected him, bro. I listened to him growing up. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. But once I got to know him personally, that's when I realized, holy wow, this guy's a piece of shit. You know?
Yeah.
That's what.
It's probably because you were influenced and knew so much about him was what made it more personal. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
dude. That's why still to this day, like I really don't like meeting people that I like their music, because like if like I met a lot of rappers, bro, that fans, like people watching right now, have no idea these guys are just the biggest fucking pieces of shit in life. And I don't want to drop no names because there's too many. There's so many. At least 80% of the rappers I've met are fucking clowns. Yeah. Clowns in real life. Deadbeats, don't fucking pay their fucking child support. They're mean to the fans, won't take a picture. Just fucking, there's rappers are scumbags, dude, like straight up. And that's cool. Not all of them. I know a lot of real good dudes too. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like humans. It's humans in general. The humans are fucking scumbags. And out of any, you know, wherever you are, there's gonna be scumbags, is what I'm saying. But yeah, I try to make a point. Like if I really like someone's music, I go extra hard on not knowing about their personal life or like following their day-to-day shit, which is weird. You know what I mean? I just try to listen to people's music. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I follow people too hard, I stop liking them. Yeah. You know? So that's why when it comes to like me on social media, I try not to give people too much shit, because I don't want people to actually find out too much about me, or they're gonna fucking end up not liking me. You know what I'm saying? I don't like a lot of motherfuckers just because I see too much of their shit. It's like annoying, you know? I don't care what you're eating right now, dude. Like, fuck off, man. You know? Just tell me when you got a new song dropping. That's all I'm here for, is the music, you know?
Yeah, I hear you. Promoting hip hop shows for almost 20 years. I've met a lot of rappers and a lot of people I was inspired by, and they weren't likable. They weren't likable.
Yeah, and then after that, listening to their music will never be the same again. That's why no matter what, if I'm in the position where I'm gonna meet people who, or at least speak in front of people who like my music, I'm gonna give them a chance to do whatever. You want a picture? You want some shit signed? You want to tell me about how my music helped you or whatever? Then I'm listening. You know what I mean? Like I'm definitely not gonna play the high and mighty shit. You know?
Do you think that's why you're having success and you've been able to build your fan base, is because you connect with the fans and you don't make those same mistakes? You try not to make those same mistakes?
It's definitely helped, for sure. Not being a dick really helps, man. If you want to succeed in anything, try being nice to people, you know?
I agree.
But yeah, like I always try my best to respond to as many messages. And like, that's one thing is like, people don't even know, is people send me messages and they're like, oh, I doubt you'll ever read this, or that's how it always starts. You'll never respond, and then I'm like, I hit them back like 2 hours later. I'm like, yo, thanks for the message, blah, blah, blah. And they're, oh, what the fuck? You know, but I try not to go too hard into that either, because sometimes people will start telling me all sorts of personal, like, I'm not a psychiatrist. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, I appreciate that people listen to my music and have grown with it, or it was there for them at a specific time. But like, and I try to respond to everyone, but sometimes, you know, if it gets a little bit too crazy, I just do the old French exit, call it. So do the Homer into the bushes, you know?
One thing I want to talk about is your YouTube channel. Is I read what 150 million views totally on this thing. Is that correct?
I think I just passed like 100 million or something like
Okay. I
that. Yeah.
read the wrong number, but still 100 million. Okay, you're an independent artist. How the hell did you pull that off?
I got a lot of videos. That's basically what it is lots of videos, man. And some of my bigger videos too, like the ones that have like, over 10 million views and shit, like those ones aren't even on my channel. Those are on another channel. So I started that channel in like 2013. So it's kind of been everything prior to that White Dynamite album. Was when I started it. But yeah, I think that for the views and shit, it's mainly just probably just the videos, man. Like you could put on a Snak The Ripper video and watch it, and it's not like I didn't ever. Obviously, I put more effort into certain videos and stuff, but like overall, I try to put an equal amount of effort into most of my video content. I try not to go too cheap with stuff, and like I think about my art like it's not disposable, man. You know what I mean? Like it isn't. Nothing that anyone creates is just something we should just throw away and like, or like not give its full opportunity to live. And so when I like make a song and I'm like thinking about the video, I want the video to be the biggest shit. Even though I know it's not the amount of money I put into making videos doesn't. The video never makes the money back. It takes years for me to make money back on videos from just video streams. But I do it for the art form of it. I love doing videos, and I like how I come from an era where when an artist dropped a music video, it like made me excited even more than just listening to the song. I would hear the song first, and then I would be excited for the video, And it's just part of the art form, man. It's part of like what I feel like I want to leave behind when I'm gone,
Now, are you coming up with are you directing the videos? Are you writing the treatments?
Uh, there's, for the most part, I've always had creative control over all my videos. You know what I mean? If I don't like the idea, it's not happening. But yeah, there's been a lot of videos. I did a lot of editing on videos, and I do a lot of like the organizing. So like finding locations and getting, props, miniature motorcycles, midgets, whatever we need. I'm always outsourcing that shit, and I always try to do it in a way where like when I'm writing a song, I I think about sometimes I can visualize the video while I'm making the song, right?
Right.
So that helps me write lyrics because I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna do this or do that when I'm doing the video, and but I think that yeah, I think for the most part, like I've had other dudes be director on my video where I feel like I definitely did way more work than they did in terms of like the creative process. But I like to give everybody deserves credit, and it is what it is. But yeah, I do direct my videos and I edit a lot of them.
Yeah,
But we
that's
get
dope,
other
man.
guys too. I got guys that do like CGI shit and they do like the special effects stuff. So like it's always like a group effort. I never do them alone. That's for sure. Never alone. I could never shoot myself.
Yeah, that'd be tough.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's talk about this new one, this new album, Let It Rip. This is a new one that just dropped out, came out. Talk to me about making this one. What was the inspiration behind this one?
Um, this one, this one was probably the only album that I wrote over like a long span of time, right? Like usually I write albums in like a 2-year span, or like I'll accumulate, I'll make like a whole bunch of songs and then I'll pick the best ones out of that 2 years and that'll be the album. Um, but this one was more, I had 2 kids since my last album. So just learning how to be a dad and also learning how to balance my business and learning how to be a dad. And then on top of that, I got audited by like the Canadian IRS, I guess you could say.
Ouch.
So throw in 2 children, getting audited, and learning how to balance all of that shit over like the last couple of years. That's what I've been dealing with. So finding time to like work on an album was like, dude, like I'd never had the energy, it was like at the end of the day I got maybe an hour to work on music, and by that time I've already been, just had the life sucked out of me, so Not in a bad way. Like I love my kids, but the audit shit has been was rough, right? So like just dealing with a lot of that shit, real life stuff, and then also trying to make the album. So it took a little bit longer to make this album. I wouldn't say I worked on it every day, but I definitely I dawdled, you know what I mean? I took my time with it. And some of the tracks are, you know, even they're not who I am now even. So they're older. You know, some of these joints I wrote in 2020 or 2018 even. But yeah, the process behind the album, I mean, it's definitely my least boom bap kind of album.
Right.
But if anybody knows my catalog or like listens to my albums front to back, they know that I've never really been like the type of artist. I don't really stick to one genre ever in my shit. It's very bipolar. All of my albums. There's always, you know, there might be albums that had more of a certain feel at one point. But like, you know, I feel like I've always experimented musically, and I think that the people that listen to my music recognize that and are open to it, you know. And this was definitely like my more musical album, you know.
Yeah, I felt that, especially on tracks like I believe it's Little One, right?
Yeah,
You bring in guitar, you bring in acoustic guitar, a regular guitar, and then you have some
yeah,
singing in there, correct?
yeah. There's no rap on that one. There's a couple
Right,
songs on the album where it's not even a rap song at all.
right.
But
I think your ability to do that is pretty impressive because not most
thanks, bro.
rappers wouldn't be able to pull that off.
Yeah, I mean, and that I think also just comes from my openness to music, right? Is like I'm not too scared to step out of my fucking lane if you know, I listen to probably more non-rap music than I listen to rap music in my everyday life. You know, I listen to a lot of classic rock and I listen to a lot of like blues and soul and shit
Yeah.
like that while I'm just chilling by myself, you know? So, and then here I am just making the same boom bap format, you know, the same 16 bar verses, the same 8-bar hook, 16, 8, 16, 8, 16, 8.
Right.
Doing that shit for 15 years is cool, but like, it's not, as an artist, it's not fulfilling whatsoever. And like, in order for me to elevate my art craft, I need to feel fulfilled. I need to feel excited. And like just doing the same shit over and over again, like I get some people can do that and enjoy it, but that ain't me. You know, I always will have to try new shit. And because it's the only way for me to have a good time, you know? And
Someone,
I've
but
always played guitar and shit, and I've always been musical. I just never shown that side of myself to my fans. All they've ever heard me do is rap. And like here I am sitting in a room with fucking 10 guitars right now, and people have no idea that I play because I never showed them. You know, I was always like, oh, I don't think people are gonna want to see that. And everybody always automatically was like, oh, you're gonna try to do some Everlast shit, huh? Like, you know what I mean? Always with the Everlast shit. And it's like, I don't really see it as that, you know, like maybe the acoustic guitar joint, sure. But no, we're trying to do some like, I want to do some more like punk rock shit. Stick to more Snak the Ripper, you know, Snak the Ripper, but just with a guitar. It's the same shit. I'm learning how to rap and play at the same time. So I can like play the joints and rap double time. You know what I mean? Like I've been practicing that shit every day. So I don't know what's going to happen. But I love playing with a band and shit too. It's so fun. It's like connecting with other people and making music is like something way more. I don't think I'll ever go back to just standing on a stage with a DJ. Is what I'm saying. Playing with the
so
live, fucking so much more. The energy is crazy, and even the fans, like from what I see, the fans have been loving it way more. It's louder. It's bangs harder. It's in your face. You know, it's better than just rapping over an MP3. You know.
so you have a band now.
Oh yeah, full band, 6-piece band. Yeah, we got a drummer, and all these guys that play with me are like way better musicians than me. You know what I mean? Like way better. They're next level, like upper echelon type of motherfuckers, like masters at what they do. So playing with them is only helping me. Well, my show is better because I got good musicians, but also I'm learning a lot just fucking with good musicians, you know? Like my boy Aspect who plays the guitar, like every time I hang out with that guy, I feel my skill level just goes up. He shows me the most simplistic shit that makes my shit elevated, you know? So it's cool, man. It's like surrounding yourself with successful people, you'll be successful. Surround yourself with, you know, good musicians and you become a better musician, you know? So, and
I
everybody
want to
listen.
go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
I said I want to go back because I forgot that you did talk about out the box a little bit. You did an album with Datsik too, didn't you?
I did a couple singles with him.
Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah.
I thought I read that.
Yeah, you know what, bro? Is Datsik is like kind of like a bigger dubstep
Yep.
guy in the day. But before he even blew up, I did a fucking I might have done the first rap dubstep song ever.
Yeah, that was a thing for a little bit. I
Yo,
remember.
let me bring that out, bro. Like 2008, I was rapping on dubstep beats, and
Oh,
people didn't.
2008.
Dubstep wasn't even called dubstep.
Yeah, it's probably all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so like I rapped on a couple dubstep beats. It's called Robo Caps, and it's just about like getting high on ecstasy and going to parties. That's what the whole song is about. And then he heard that song and he started blowing up, and dubstep started getting all popular and shit in like the early, you know, 2010s or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And he just lived in a city. Like we had similar friends, so he's like, "Hey man, like jump on this shit, blah blah blah." And so I did a couple with him, and that was it. That's all we really ever did, though. Never really like was close with that guy. It was more of a political thing, you know. His
Yeah.
manager, my manager, were friends, so they like, you know. I probably said 5 words to the guy ever, you know. And we
Oh, it's
played.
like that.
I'm like, "Hey, what's up, dude?" And he's like, "Hey, man," you know what I mean. But it's always everyone else talking around us, you know, and making things happen. It was a weird collaboration for sure.
One thing I also want to talk about is you talk about not drinking and not doing hard drugs. Or can you clarify that a little bit? Because I was a little unclear. What it seems like you're stepping away from that lifestyle that you used to
Oh
live
yeah,
by.
no, I'm 6 years drug and alcohol free, other than mushrooms. And I'll tell you why in a little
You
bit.
smoke marijuana? You smoke weed?
Oh yeah, I smoke weed too, but like I said, weed isn't. If you knew, I'm not like I never play and I've always said like I'm not like the perfect role model of sobriety here, because I really am not 100% sober. I do rely on marijuana every single day. But I don't do shrooms every day, but I do every once in a while. I microdose and shit just for like mental clarity. Like, dude, like I'm that album, that Let It Rip album, I probably wrote every song on that album with mushrooms in my, you know what I mean? Psilocybin.
Microdosing?
Microdosing, yeah.
So
It helps me.
explain that to me, because I've done mushrooms and lost my shit. So I don't do any.
You
You
did
know,
too much,
but
bro. You did too
I
much.
definitely did too much. I'll definitely
So
give you that.
the thing is, bro, is like, here's what happened is I used to do a lot of cocaine and I used to drink a lot. Most of my fans know I was a party animal for mad years. You can go on YouTube, you see videos of me barfing and fucking in the streets behind the tour bus and, you know, just doing all sorts of crazy shit, not having a voice. I was a mess. But you know, 2017, I kind of hit a rough patch, and fucking, it was right around the time my old man passed away, and I was going really hard on drugs, and basically, bro, I knew I needed to quit. My girl was pregnant, and I was like, I don't want to be a drug addict when this kid comes out, and I don't want to be an alcoholic, because I always resented kind of like my dad for being a bit of a drunk. And kind of broke up my family. So I was like, I'm gonna break the chain here, and I got off the booze and the coke and all the partying and the E and all that shit. But in the process of getting sober, I feel like I didn't know who I was anymore, and I got into this like sober depression where I was like, I had zero creativity. I felt like I had no creativity. Um, it's not that I didn't have creativity. I just didn't know how to access it without being fucked up and being depressed and all my music was always written off of like a drug bender. You know what I mean? So like suddenly here I am clear-minded, having to learn how to deal with emotions and thoughts and all sorts of shit, sober, you know? And then on top of that, trying to be creative. And I just felt not creative whatsoever. And I was definitely not motivated. Sorry, that wasn't a fart. That was just my chair. Like, oh, but
Great timing. Great
yeah,
delivery.
but yeah, I just felt like for a while there I was going through a real dry phase where it was hard for me to be creative and stuff. And then I tried microdosing and just little increments of shrooms. And dude, it helped me in so many aspects of my life. Like it helped me with like I got a bit of an anger issue sometimes, and like I'm a hothead, you know what I mean? So it calms me down a little bit. But it's not just about when I'm on the shrooms. I'm talking like for weeks after. If I eat a little microdose today, I'll be like feeling like more smug for like weeks, bro. Like it's something about it. Like, I don't know. I swear that it's an antidepressant. You know what I mean? Like people are out here taking pills from the pharmacist when really they should just have a microdose. That's it. It comes out of a cow's shit. It's not from a chemical. It's not out of a fucking warehouse. It's not big pharma. You know what I mean? The only shit that I ingest in my body comes from the earth. It's not chemically treated. You know, I know the guy who grows the shrooms that I eat. You know what I'm saying? I know where they come out. I know the greenhouse they're grown in. You know, and fuck, dude, it's great. It's great for overall mental wellness, I think, and I think that it also really helps with the creative side of stuff. You know, for me, like being a writer and shit, sometimes you get that writer's block. You're overthinking too much. You're thinking too much about whatever. I take a little microdose and that whole wall just gets knocked down. It's like I'm just writing freely again, like I was in 2007, which is great, you know. So I don't do it all the time, but I definitely do it when I'm like if I'm like in a creative environment with like the homies and everybody's writing, like all of my homies, they all write super fast and they're all like natural rappers. I'm like, fuck this, I'm eating a microdose so I can fucking turbo mode this shit, you know. We did a live concert in my backyard during COVID, like last year. It's called Pissing Off the Neighbors. We made like a whole live album from it, and the whole band, we were all.
Sorry, my dog barked.
No, it's all good. I was saying like the whole band was eating mushrooms for that whole live performance, and it helped, man. It brought us all together, unified us musically, you know.
Did you actually piss off the neighbors, or were they cool?
No, my neighbors are all awesome. They're all fucking. And I actually don't like live like in like a tight like a quarters. So I live near the forest. So really the only shit that I was probably pissing off was the nature.
Squirrels.
Yeah, man. My back hurts.
Well,
Sure.
man, this has been great. You know, building with you and whatnot, man. It's a very interesting story, man. I really appreciate you making time for this. I really do.
No worries, bro. I appreciate you giving me the platform to promote my shit. Next time I come out to Boston, hopefully you can have a hand in helping promote that shit.
Yeah, if I can help anyway, you know, let me know. You know, even if I can't do it, I can put you in touch with the right people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, dude, like the cool thing about what we're doing now is like we're doing everything in house. So technically, you know, I'm not the type of rapper where I'm like, yo, I need $5,000, a jar of green M&Ms. I need 5 bottles of Moet. I don't ask for none of that shit because I do all the tickets through my own website. So like, really, yeah, just hook me up with a venue and fucking let's go. You know what I mean?
And some mushrooms.
Yeah, well, I don't think that shit's legal over there yet, but I think they're working on legalizing it in Canada, or at least decriminalizing it to an extent where people can use it for like medicinal purposes. Like, man, it helps me, man. Like, for instance, if I go into an environment where like everyone's partying, everyone's drinking, having a good time and shit, I could never do that for a few years. I had to like, even at my own shows, I had to like get off stage and run out the back doors and get the fuck out of there before people start giving me cocaine and shit, right? So now, if I eat a little microdose, I can go into those scenarios and I still feel like I'm kind of like loosened up a little bit, right? And I'm social and I'm giggly, you know. It's like I'm partying, but I'm not. And there's no hangover, and there's no like anger or like weird, like, you know. There's something about alcohol, bro. It's like the alcohol is the worst shit you could put in your body. Don't even argue with it. Even if you drink a glass of wine, you're still poisoning yourself. I would rather eat a mushroom that came out of a fucking horse's shit than drink a bottle of wine. You know what I mean? Because that shit is poison. And it affects you mentally in a negative way. You know what I mean? You get angry, you get emotional, you get sad, you want to fight. It's all this. It brings out fucking the shit in you, basically. Whereas like a little microdose is the complete opposite. You know?
Word.
Yeah, man. Try it, bro.
Man.
how it goes. Let me know how it goes. Get a little microdose in you, but maybe don't do it if it's super illegal where you live. You know, I don't want you going to jail because I told you to eat shrooms.
Well, there you have it, man. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the Leedz Entertainment Podcast with Snak The Ripper. Thank you, brother, and we'll talk soon.
All right, bro. Much love.
Take care.